Ivan Boesky. Ivan Boesky dies aged 87. Ivan Boesky, the financier who gave birth to the "greed is good" mantra before going to prison in one of the biggest Wall Street insider trading scandals of the 1980s, has died at the age of 87, the New York Times reported on Monday. Boesky, who partly inspired the Gordon Gekko character in the 1987 movie Wall Street, was considered a genius at risk arbitrage, the business of speculating in takeover stocks, and his wealth was estimated at $280 million. "I think greed is healthy. You can be greedy and still feel good about yourself," he said in a commencement speech to the University of California, Berkeley Business School in 1986. Just a few months later, the man known on Wall Street as Ivan the Terrible was indicted on charges that would send him to disgrace, near bankruptcy, and prison. Boesky became a legend by committing vast sums to potential merger deals, trying to take advantage of the small but predictable gains that follow takeover rumors. Often, the news that Boesky was investing in a company was enough to prompt other speculators to enter the market, creating a self-fulfilling rise in the stock's price. All along, Boesky insisted he bought stocks only after formal takeover bids were announced. Sam Butcher dies at age 85. Sam Butcher, the creator behind the iconic Precious Moments porcelain figurines, has died at the age of 85. Butcher died Monday surrounded by loved ones, the company said in a Facebook post. The cause of his death was not immediately clear. In his final words, he shared that the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit were with him, and that it was beautiful. The post reads, Butcher began drawing for family and friends, commercializing his artwork in 1975, according to the Precious Moments website. Precious Moments porcelain figurines officially became available for purchase in 1978. 3 years after the artwork first appeared on greeting cards and inspirational posters. Millions of people have come to know Butcher's work since then, collecting his pieces and visiting the Precious Moments Chapel in Missouri. Although the sorrow is great, it is our prayer that the appreciation and celebration of his legacy be even greater. The legacy of his glory-filled life, the countless blessings he bestowed upon the millions of lives he touched, and the incredible fulfillment of his life's mission, to share God's gift of love with the world, the company's post reads. Karl-Heinz Schnellinger. Karl-Heinz Schnellinger dies at 85. Former Germany defender Karl-Heinz Schnellinger, who played at 4 World Cups, has died in Italy at the age of 85, his former club Cologne said on Tuesday. Considered one of the best defenders in the world at his time, the former AC Milan and AS Roma player was in hospital when he died on Monday evening, German broadcaster Deutsche Welle said. Former German defender Karl-Heinz Schnellinger, who represented his country at 4 World Cups, passed away in Italy on Monday evening at the age of 85, according to his former club Cologne. The announcement was made on Tuesday. Schnellinger, who had stints with AC Milan and AS Roma, was widely regarded as one of the world's top defenders during his playing career. Deutsche Welle, a German broadcaster, reported that he was in hospital at the time of his death. Schnellinger scored a stoppage-time equalizer for West Germany in their 4-3 semi-final loss to Italy in the 1970 World Cup, a match dubbed the Game of the Century due to a record 5 goals scored during extra time. It would be Schnellinger's 4th and last World Cup after 1958, 1962, and 1966. Larry Bensky. Larry Bensky dead at 87. Larry Bensky, who brought an activist's level of devotion and a historian's attention to detail to the work of radio journalism, died May 19 in Berkeley. He was 87. The signature voice of the progressive station KPFA, Bensky was most famous for his live broadcasts of the Iran-Contra hearings of the late 1980s, which won him the prestigious George Polk Award. But he also covered the confirmation hearings of 4 U.S. Supreme Court justices, the 9/11 Commission hearings, and innumerable demonstrations and protests, earning the reverence of the San Francisco Bay Area's large leftist community. From a San Francisco phone booth, he broadcast a live narrative of the historic White Night riots, sparked by the lenient sentencing of Dan White for the assassinations of San Francisco Mayor George Moscone and Supervisor Harvey Milk. Bensky was born into a Jewish family in Brooklyn on May 1, 1937. He was inspired to become a journalist and an activist as a youth while reading news of the extermination of European Jews in the 6 or 7 newspapers that his father brought home every evening, he said in a 2007 interview that aired on KPFA. Richard Foronjy. Richard Foronjy dies at 86. Richard Foronjy, a character actor who grew up in the gangster world and went to prison before becoming an actor in movies including Midnight Run, Prince of the City, and Carlito's Way, died Sunday. He was 86. Foronjy, born in Brooklyn, NY, saw his first small role as Corsaro in Serpico, the 1973 autobiographical crime drama that starred Al Pacino as a whistleblower whose work led to an investigation by the Knapp Commission into the department. In the 1984 Repo Man, starring Harry Dean Stanton and Emilio Estevez, Foronjy played Arnold Pletchner, the rent-a-cop with the memorable speech, "You're fucking right, I'm Pletchner." Arnold Pletchner, 3 times decorated in 2 world wars. I was killing people while you were still swimming around in your father's balls. You little scumbag. I worked 5 years in a slaughterhouse and 10 years as a prison guard in Attica. In the 1988 comedy action film Midnight Run, he played mobster Tony Darvo, starring alongside Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin. Foronjy also played a mobster, Peter Amodesso, in the 1993 crime drama Carlito's Way, starring Al Pacino and Sean Penn. Ian Hamilton. Hamilton dead at 73, the football world paid tribute to the midfielder, who was given his nickname after the famous American jazz drummer. Hamilton started his career with Chelsea in 1966 and became the Blues' youngest ever player and goal scorer at 16 years, 138 days. He scored against Tottenham on his debut and earned comparisons to the legendary Jimmy Greaves. But he only played 4 more league games for the Blues before moving to Southend. Chico's longest spell was with Aston Villa, for whom he played 208 games, winning the League Cup in 1975. He also played for Sheffield United before moving to America. In retirement, Hamilton remained in the States and spent 17 years as a coach at Thomas Worthington High School in Ohio. Hamilton's death was confirmed by the Blades on social media. A Blades statement read, "All at Sheffield United are saddened to have been informed former player Ian Chico Hamilton has passed away, aged 73. Chico began his career at Chelsea under Tommy Docherty and became their youngest league player and goal scorer when he netted on debut aged just 16 years and 138 days against Tottenham. Christian Malanga, Brig General Sylvain Ikengi, DR Congo Army Tok Tok Pesin on the 19th of May say several armed men attacked the office of the president, and second attack take place nearby for the house of Vital Kamerhe, former chief of staff and close ally to the current head of state. Following the attack, dem don arrest 50 people including 3 U.S. citizens. Many initially believe, say, the attempted coup come from group of Congolese soldiers, Wayday linked to the presidential guard. However, dem later confirm say na opposition figure Christian Malanga carry out the move, longtime critic of President Felix Tshisekedi. The army confirm say dem shoot Malanga dead for the presidential palace after resist arrest by the security forces. Dem last see am alive on Sunday morning via live stream on social media platform Facebook, as they stand alongside several heavily armed Pipo Wade wear military uniforms. Felix, you day go out. We day come for you, Malanga talk, as confirm I am intention to overthrow President Tshisekedi regime. Jim Otto, Jim Otto dead at 86. Jim Otto, who played center for 15 years for the Oakland Raiders and underwent more than 70 football-related operations, including the amputation of his right leg, has died. He was 86. The Raiders, now the Las Vegas Raiders, announced his death on Sunday. The announcement did not say where or when he died or cite a cause. Otto was an original Raider. He played for the team during its American Football League days, from 1960 to 1969, and then in the National Football League from 1970 to 74, following the merger of the two leagues. He started 210 consecutive games, was voted to the AFL All-Star team in each of its 10 seasons, and helped the Raiders win 7 division championships. In 1980, the first year he was eligible, he was voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Despite all that, he was remembered less for enduring than for suffering. The early days of his retirement were captured poignantly in a 1985 documentary, Disposable Heroes: The Other Side of Football, directed by Bill Couturier, which focused on Otto and another ex-player, Roger Stilwell, who had been a defensive lineman with the Chicago Bears. Ibrahim Raizi dies at 63. The hardline Shiite cleric was seen as a possible successor to Iran's supreme leader. Mr. Raizi's death comes at a moment of turbulence for a country facing a deepening conflict with Israel. Ibrahim Raizi, Iran's president and a top contender to succeed the nation's supreme leader, was killed on Sunday in a helicopter crash. He was 63, a conservative Shiite Muslim cleric who had a hand in some of the most brutal crackdowns on opponents of the Islamic Republic. Mr. Raizi was a protege of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and a devoted upholder of religious rule in the country. Mr. Raizi's presidency was shaped by two major events: the 2022 nationwide uprising, led by women and girls, demanding the end to the Islamic Republic's rule and the government's brutal crushing of that movement, and the current Middle East war with Israel, with which it had a long history of clandestine attacks. As the president under Iran's political system, Mr. Raizi did not set the country's nuclear or regional policy. Gene Herrera dies at 33. Former UFC fighter Gene Herrera died on Saturday due to a fatal motorcycle crash in Florida. According to TMZ Sports, the Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles revealed that the incident occurred in Tampa at roughly 10:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Herrera reportedly crashed into the back of another vehicle at a very high rate of speed, before subsequently striking a concrete barrier. Herrera was pronounced dead at the scene, and the driver of the vehicle that was struck was unharmed. Gene was full of life, always trying to live life to the fullest. He was a dedicated athlete with big dreams of making a difference and leaving his print in this world, Herrera's family said on a GoFundMe page that was set up on Sunday to cover funeral costs. TMZ Sports. He was such a happy-go-lucky person that left a mark in everyone that came into his life. Gene leaves behind a 16-year-old son, his 3-month pregnant girlfriend, mother, father, sisters, a brother, and a family that loves him and will deeply miss him, the family added. Bruce Nordstrom dies at 90. Bruce Nordstrom 0.0%. Nordstrom 0.0% was a great leader. He led his company for 40 years and expanded the company to have a national presence. It started as a string of shoe stores and developed a national chain with international fashion brands. He was 90 years old. He was the grandson of the founder John W. Wormhole plus 0.7%. Nordstrom, the NYSE stock symbol, is JWN. He led the company with his cousins John N. Nordstrom, Jim Nordstrom, who were brothers, and Jack McMillan, who is married to their cousin Loyal Nordstrom. Management by committee was a tradition, while experts frowned upon it. It is a formula that has continued to be used by family members to this day. At age 30, he was appointed president, and he continued to lead the company until 40 years later, when he retired in 2006 as chairman. He lost his first wife, Fran, in 1984. 4 years later, he married Jeannie O'Rourke. His oldest son, Blake, died of cancer in 2019. In my infrequent visits to Seattle, I visited Nordstrom as an analyst and met the family members. Bruce Nordstrom made it his business to be available to meet with me. Fred Roos. Fred Roos dies at 89. Fred Roos, the Oscar-winning producer of The Godfather Part 2, who helped launch the careers of numerous superstars, from Jack Nicholson to Tom Cruise, has died. He was 89. He died at his home in Beverly Hills, California, on Saturday, a representative said Tuesday, just days after his and Francis Ford Coppola's latest film Megalopolis premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. He was determined to never retire from the film business and to go with his boots on, his son Alexander Sandy Roos said in a statement. He got his wish. Fred Roos, the Oscar-winning producer of The Godfather Part 2, who helped launch the careers of numerous superstars, from Jack Nicholson to Tom Cruise, has died. He was 89. He died at his home in Beverly Hills, California, on Saturday, a representative said Tuesday, just days after his and Francis Ford Coppola's latest film Megalopolis premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. Francis Ford Coppola debuts Megalopolis in Cannes, and the reviews are in. He was determined to never retire from the film business and to go with his boots on, his son Alexander Sandy Roos said in a statement. John Wysocki. John Wysocki dies at 56. The founding drummer of rock band Stained, John Wysocki, has died at age 56. Wysocki died Saturday night, according to his band, Lydia's Castle, which posted on Instagram that the drummer passed away surrounded by family and friends that loved him dearly. The post included an earlier photo of the bandmates in a group hug, with Wysocki's trademark silver mullet shining in the light. Lydia's Castle's guitarist and co-founder Cody Denton told The Times on Monday that Wysocki suffered complications with his liver and other organs. A friend of Wysocki posted Saturday morning on Facebook that the musician was in the ICU, but friends and family were hopeful he would still recover. But his health declined rapidly. Fans and former colleagues posted tributes to the drummer online. He was my friend. He was our brother. My heart is broken. My world has changed, wrote Aaron Lewis, lead vocalist of Stained, as he reminisced about Wysocki on the social media platform X. The battles we fought together. The battles we fought against each other. Clint Eastwood. I don't want to be one of those guys. Taylor Sheridan is a big fan of Clint Eastwood, but don't expect Yellowstone creator to follow his steps in the future. Clint Eastwood is one of the leading pioneers of actors and filmmakers who popularized the Western genre and elevated it during his prime. The actor's collaborations with Sergio Leone on the Dollars trilogy changed Westerns forever. Eastwood carried on the legacy of those who came before him and elevated the genre by taking it into unexplored territory with many of his Westerns. The Outlaw Jose Wales, High Plains Drifter, Pale Rider, and Unforgiven were four of the Western's masterpieces Eastwood made. While the genre has not had the level of popularity it did back then, Taylor Sheridan's Yellowstone reinvigorated the genre with a fresh and intimate familial story. While Sheridan certainly took inspiration from Eastwood, he did not want to copy one trait of his films.